This conference will now be recorded.
Hi all, good morning, good evening. Welcome to another session on performance testing real-time project with JMeter. So we are in the process of test strategy documentation, right? We are in the process of test strategy documentation and we have covered some of the sections. So now let us continue from there. So before starting, I'd like to ask anyone if you have any queries. If anyone has any queries, okay. So let me start sharing my screen. Give me a moment. Hope my screen is visible to all of you. So we had discussed the RAID log, right? And then this schedule, guys. I had told you that you keep the project schedule in this particular section and then clearly hide which all timelines belongs to your performance testing, right? So you put the entire project plan over here and then you highlight the performance testing timelines. Please maintain the contingency, please maintain the buffer for your performance testing timelines, okay, because you never know, unnecessary delay will get introduced in the project. So always keep the buffer time for your performance testing. Test data approach, we discussed on this. Whatever approach you are going to take for your test data creation, please keep that, okay, please keep that over here. Next, test environments, okay. So let us update this test environment. What will I do? We will insert performance test environment, okay, performance test environment. And what you do is you insert a table, name, CPU, memory, disk, okay, name of environment, name of environment, and then number of CPU cores, okay, and then memory, and then disk space, okay, disk space. So if you have been asked to do the testing in multiple performance test environment, for example in the low scaled environment, you have been asked to do the performance testing, and then you have been again asked to do the performance testing in higher scaled environments which are close to production, okay, which is close to production. So what you do, you basically give the name of the environment, for example integration environment, integration environment, or system test environment, system test environment. Now this environment is a low scaled environment, it will not be close to production, okay. But if you have been asked to do the test on a performance test environment which is close to production. Okay, you have been asked to do the test on a single environment. Okay, you have been asked to do the test on a single environment. Then you can write performance test environment, performance test environment. Then what is the number of CPU cores? Now you tell me, who will give you these details, guys? Who will give you these details?
CPU monitoring tool.
You should get these details from your environment team. You should get these details from your environment team. Basically, when your environment team is going to, when your environment means, you will place the request, right? You will place the request of the environment with the environment team. So when they are provisioning the environment to you, please ask these details from them. What is the configuration of the environment? What is the configuration of the environment? And again, this one you will have different. I need to add one more. I need to add one more column, guys. Okay. So server name, server name. Now who can tell me why did I write this server name? Anyone? Or server details? Anyone? Think upon it, guys. Think upon it.
What will be covered in server details like locations and all?
Yeah, what will be server details? Why did I
That
add the column server details?
yeah,
In
if it
which
is like
location
suppose
we have to test, for knowing that we have to mention the server details.
Sorry?
That means local machine or
No, that is our performance test environment, right? The environment on which we are doing the testing.
for
That I have.
to, to know the uh, where to get the load generation.
Guys, this is related to performance test environment. Which one is a performance test environment? Where you are going to deploy the application. Where you are going to deploy the application. Why I wrote this? Because your performance test environment is going to have multiple servers, web server, application server, database server. Understood, all of you? Each server is going to have its own configuration, right? CPU, memory, disk, or not? Each server, your application server, your database server, your web server, if they are different servers, are they going to have different CPU, different memory, different disk space or not? Are you
yes,
getting me? All of you? If everything is there in one server, that is also possible. Okay. If your web server, your app server, your database server is present on a single host, that is also possible. So in that case, you do not need to add the server details, or here you can just give the host name. Host name. Okay. Now, if there are multiple, what you do? Give application server. Then host name. Host name. Do not mention IP address. Okay. Give only the host name. Then number of CPU cores, memory, disk space. Similarly what? the database server details, the web server details, those details you provide. Then guys, similar to this, you need to provide the performance test environment details. Understood all of you? You need to provide the performance test environment details. Sorry, production environment details. Okay, you need to provide production environment. And why we are providing this? Anyone? Why are we providing production environment details?
Maybe to match where we are performing versus what is actual production details.
Perfect. Perfect. To give one view, to give the visualization to the project stakeholders that the testing which you are doing on a specific environment, that is a performance test environment, whether it is close to production or not. Clear all of you? Whether that environment is close to production or not, we are providing the details here so that everyone is aware whether we have been provided the performance test environment close to production or not. Please remember, if here your performance test environment is not close to production environment, during the walkthrough you need to clearly highlight there is a risk that the performance test environment which has been handed over to the performance system, it is not close to production. Clear? It is not close to production. Any queries, anyone?
Yeah, what is the CPU cores? Number of CPU cores.
Have you heard of dual core processor? Whenever you buy a laptop or desktop, dual core, quad core, have you heard these terms?
Yes, yes.
That
Only the
is the
terms I know.
cores. Quad core processor. Processor means CPU. Okay. So for your server also, what is the number of cores? We normally ask for 4 core CPU, 16 GB RAM, right? Those systems we need, right? So similarly, what is the configuration of your server? These details you need to get from your environment team. Ask the details over an email so that if there is any discrepancy here, you can go back and tell this is what I got from them in the email. Okay, this is what I got from them in the email. Clear all of you? Right? Or any queries?
Chandra,
Next.
is this production environment details provided by us to from production environment team?
Actually, the support team will have the details, but the environment team will talk to the support team and get to the details. Why will you go and again means you are unnecessarily taking more responsibilities, right? Give
Okay.
the means ask the details from the environment team only. They will discuss with the support team or whoever the stakeholder is. They will come with the details for you. Understood?
Okay.
Yeah. Clear or any queries? Then coming to the next slide, tools and test types. Tools and test types. So here you are going to mention what are the tools you are going to use for your performance testing. Not only for performance testing, during your performance testing, whatever tools you are going to use, whatever tools you are going to use, guys. Okay. So I will again insert a table here. tool name, right? And the description. Description means what is it used for? What is it used for? Now, who can tell me the tools which we are going to use? The tools which we are going to use. Anyone?
JMeter, Dynatrace.
JMeter.
JMeter. The tool will be used to generate or inject, okay? Inject the required user load, okay? Required concurrent user load. Very important, guys. Concurrent user load as per the NFR volume metric. As per the NFR volume metric. Next, Dynatrace we are going to use for monitoring, right? So we will write this, the tool will be used to monitor the infrastructure and application. Monitor the infrastructure and application. Then you can also mention other tools, guys, like which one? Jira, right? If you are using Jira or any other incident management tool, test management tool, okay? So whatever tools you are going to use in your project, you need to call out those tools here. You need to call out those tools here. Any queries, anyone? Any queries, anyone? Here, okay? JMeter, Dynatrace, Jira, any other tool which you are going to use. This is our test management tool. Test management tool. Okay. Then test types. Test types. What are the different types of tests which we are going to carry out? Okay. The different types of tests which we are going to carry out, guys. So as part of this training, we are going to conduct load test and stress test. Endurance test we are not going to cover because in endurance test you just have to increase the duration. User load you will give as load test, but because endurance test will normally run for 8 hours, right? We cannot run the test during our training. So we are going to skip that. Load test, stress test, we are going to definitely see that. So whatever tests you are planning to conduct as part of your project, those all different test types you need to mention here. Okay. Any queries, anyone? Any queries, anyone? Then we come to the next slide, that is our Recimetrics. So this one is basically, I told you, performance testing, responsible PT team, accountable test manager, consulted testing head, informed project manager. Similarly, server monitoring. Okay, server monitoring. Environment provisioning. Environment provisioning. Means provision of environment, guys. Okay, who is responsible? Environment team. Environment team, right? Who is accountable? Basically, environment team would be reporting to someone, right? If they are directly reporting to the project manager, you will write project manager here. If they are reporting to product owner, you write product owner here. Understood? Means responsibility lies with the environment team. But if they do not do that, if they do not do that, you have to report it to someone, right? You have to report it to someone. So your product owner will be accountable for that. Then consulted and informed. Consulted, again your testing head, or in this case your it can be test manager or PT team also, in case they want any help, any consultations, guys. PT team. Okay, informed again project manager and test manager also, test manager also. Okay, any queries? Similarly, what else? What else? Performance testing, server monitoring, environment provisioning, test data management, test data management. Data team, for example, I am assuming that I will have a data team who will provide the test data to me. Okay, data team. Accountability lies with, for example, the data team is also reporting to the product owner. Okay, consulted PT team, because they will need data from you. So you will be on consulted role. If they have any queries, they need to reach out to you to get their query resolved for test data creation. And then we have the informed. Okay, guys. Any queries, anyone? Any queries, anyone? Next, we go to the next slide, that is document review and approval. Document review and approval. So approver name one, for example, I'm just giving, okay, name one. Role project manager. Okay. Name two. Role business user. Name three, that is solution architect. Okay. Name four, product owner. Okay. Name five. If you have no space on this slide, you take it to the other one. Means you take this table to the next slide, guys. Okay, you don't have to necessarily keep under one slide. Name four, name five. Name five will be development lead. Okay. Then this will be, let's say, name one. Here also the same people will come, guys. The same people will also come here as well. Okay, because they are reviewing also. You are keeping approver name, it means reviewer section, approver section separate. Okay, just to clearly differentiate it. These people means under reviewer section, they are going to review only. Name 03, name 04, name 05. Then you have your name 6, environment lead, environment lead. Then you have name 7, that is your test manager, test manager. Then you have name 8, project manager, business user, solution architect, product owner, development lead, environment lead, test manager. Then it could be service transition manager. Service transition manager. Okay. So this is how you are going to create this list. Any queries, anyone?
For which documents these roles are for?
Sorry.
For which all documents these roles are for? Yeah.
So your
Like
voice is
test
not
plan,
clear.
test strategy.
From which all?
Uh, for which documents we are creating this list?
This is for our test strategy. No, we are going through the test strategy documentation, right?
Okay.
This is for the test strategy. You are documenting the test strategy. So these people will be the approvers for your test strategy, and these people will be your reviewers. Means your approvers are also reviewers, but reviewers are not approvers, right? So like your environment lead, test manager, service transition manager, these all guys, they are not your approvers. Okay, your approvers will be these many people. Okay, any queries, anyone? Okay, so this is my test strategy documentation. With this, and then in the appendix section, you provide, here also what you need to do. You need to create a table. You need to create a table. Serial number, document name, attachment or link. Attachment or link. One. So you will have physical technical model, logical technical model, HLD high level design, LLD low level design. So design documents basically. Design documents which you would have referred, right? Which you are referred. So that document you can provide the attachment here or the link here. Similarly, NFRs, non-functional requirements, right? So other details you can provide, which we saw, right? Whatever additional documents you want to attach here for other people to refer, guys, for other people to refer, you can provide them here. Okay, clear all of you? So with this, we come to the end of test strategy documentation. Anyone having any queries? Anyone having any queries on test strategy documentation? So let me quickly take you through the test strategy documentation again in brief. This is the title of your test strategy. Then you put the contents, whatever you are going to have in the test strategy document. Then your purpose, your audience, what is your test objective, what is your test scope. You see, here I provided the link to the NFRs, right? So that is in the appendix section. If I click here, I'll directly go to the appendix section. Then your performance test approach, okay, the performance test approach. Then your rate log. So in rate log, you are going to list out assumptions, dependencies, issues, risks. Then your test schedule, test data approach, test environment details, your tools, whatever tools you are going to use as part of your performance testing, and the different types of tests which you are going to conduct, the metrics, okay, and then the document review and approval. Then we have the appendix section. Please remember one more point which I have already told you. I am reiterating that if your project has already any template for test strategy, you need to follow that template. Again, the template, whenever any project has any template, the content, the skeleton will be similar, guys. It will be similar, only the look and feel changes or some minor changes would be there. But from a test strategy point of view, these would be the details which would be required. Now, there could be one scenario where you have a test strategy template for functional testing as well as non-functional testing, a single test strategy template. A single test strategy template for your functional testing and non-functional testing. If you find that there are some sections which are missing in that functional template, discuss that with your project manager, make those changes in your template. Make those changes to that template to come up with your performance test template. Clear? Any queries, anyone? However, if there is any template in your project, please follow the project template for documentation. Please follow the project template for documentation. Any queries, anyone? With this, we come to the end of test strategy documentation. Now we will go to the next document. Who can tell me what is the next document? The next document will be our performance test plan. Okay, our next document will be the performance test plan. So let me share my screen. So this is the, again, for your project, you will again have the, if your template exists for test strategy, definitely your template will exist for test plan as well. Understood? If your test plan exists, sorry, if your template exists for test strategy, then your template will also definitely exist for test plan. So next we see the template for our test plan document. Now this is a lengthy document, guys. So what were we going to do? We are going to update this document as well. We'll keep on updating this document. Clear all of you, or any queries, anyone? So just on a high level, I'll first of all take you to the contents. I'll take you to the contents. So once you are clear of the contents, we'll start documenting this. Any queries, anyone? Okay. So the first page again. The first page will be the title of your project. Okay. The title of your project. Then document version status. What is the version of your document status? Okay. So what is the version, whether it is approved or not, whether it is approved or not. When was this issued? When was this issued? Who issued this? Who issued this test plan? Okay. And was this test plan reviewed by anyone else? Means peer review means whether this was reviewed by your manager. If you are working as a test analyst, the test plan should be reviewed by the test lead. Ideally, whenever it is a performance test plan, performance test strategy, the performance test lead is going to present this document. So normally it should be reviewed with the peer, that is your test manager. Okay, that is your test manager. Okay. Then you have the revision history, guys. Revision history, that is under the document control. What version was first initial draft, right? Initial draft, and what is the date? Then next, what changes did you make? Next, what changes did you make? So these all things you will be able to clearly understand. These all details I no need to explain that, because we have already gone through that in the test strategy document, right? The document revision history and all. So now let us go to our table of contents. In this table of contents you see here, first we are going to give a project background, guys. Okay, we are going to give the background of the project which we are going to work on. If you remember, in the test strategy we started with purpose, then audience. So that is a PPT or a deck. So over there we are giving fewer details, but the test plan is going to be a lengthier document, guys. It is going to be a lengthier document. You need to clearly put everything in the test plan, because if you have met the requirements whatever you have mentioned in your test plan, and if that is approved, tomorrow no one can question you on your approach. But if you have not documented any test strategy, if you have not documented any test plan, and then you have all simply have done the testing, tomorrow people might question on your approach if there is any problems. Okay. So first the project background. Then what is the purpose of the document, right? Document purpose. In the test strategy also we had mentioned the document purpose. What are the test objectives? What is the objective of your test, guys? Okay, test objectives. Then document audience. Who is the audience? Test objective also, if you remember, we have covered in the test strategy in brief. So in the test plan, all the sections will be a bit detailed, a bit explanatory, guys. Okay. So test objective, document audience, and the approver and reviewer obligations. What are the obligations on the approver and the reviewer? Okay, that is the introduction part. Then you see we have the assumptions, constraints, dependencies, and risk. That is your RAID, right? Now I have told you that whenever you are going to document this test plan, you need to follow the template followed in your project. You need to follow the template which is followed in project. In case there is no template, you can follow this, means you can propose this template in your project and follow it, guys. But again, the sections will remain the same, guys. Okay, the sections will remain somewhat similar only. So there is identification and contingencies, in which we are going to call out the risks, assumptions, dependencies, or issues. Constraints are nothing but issues. Test scope. Test scope. First you see there is a variation in scope. Means if tomorrow there is a variation in the scope, if tomorrow there is a change in the scope, what will be the action taken? Then you see in scope. What are the items in scope? Okay. What are the things which are in your scope? Now in scope, you see under in scope, you see 3.2. Then you have 3.2.1, means under the scope, what is the business functionality which is in scope? What are the different types of tests which are in scope? Okay. What are the business functionalities in scope? What are the different types of tests which are in scope? Then for performance monitoring, okay, performance monitoring, what if it is in scope or not. And then the workload model, very important, guys. Workload model, very important. The way I am going to explain it to you, you will clearly understand that in a very simple way, Then out of scope, as I have told you, in your out of scope you are going to mention the things which are not in your scope, and for that also you need to provide the justification. For your out of scope items, you need to provide the justification. Features to be tested means the scenarios which you have to test, guys. Okay. Required scripting, what are the different scripts which you have to develop? Okay, the scenarios which you have to develop as part of your scope. What are the scenarios? And then what will be the test deliverables from your side? What are the different test deliverables from your side? Then comes the detailed test approach. What is the test approach which you are going to take for your performance testing? Okay, what are these approach you are going to take for your performance testing? So test strategy, test management, risk-based testing approach. There will be an interview question, guys, when you do not have sufficient time for completing your tests. That delay could be introduced due to something, but in case you do not have sufficient time to complete your test, what approach are you going to take? You are going to take the risk-based testing approach. So when you are going to do the risk-based testing approach, you need to clearly call it out here how you are trying to do that. Okay, how are you targeting to do the risk-based testing? Then the test schedules and milestones. So this we also saw in the test strategy, right? We have to provide the project plan. Also based on the project plan, we have to provide the performance testing timelines. Okay, we have to provide the performance testing timelines. Roles and responsibilities, the RESI metrics, right? The RESI metrics. What are the different means from a vendor point of view? if there are any roles and responsibilities from a testing team point of view, if there are any roles and responsibilities. So, and if you are discussing with any particular team and all, what are their point of contacts, what are their roles and responsibilities, we are going to see. Test environment. In test strategy also, we had one test environment section. You see here, over here also, we are going to mention the hardware, we are going to mention the software, the list of applications, the test tools, test data management, etc. Okay. Then we have the test management and procedures. So the test entry criteria, what is the entry criteria for performance testing? What is the exit criteria for performance testing? Okay. How are you going to track your progress? How are you going to do the reporting of your progress? Status reports. How are we going to send? Those are things we are going to mention here. So on a high level, these will be the different contents based on which we have to elaborate the test plan document, guys. This will also have an appendix section at the end. Okay, so these are the contents based on which we are going to do the test plan documentation. Any queries, anyone? Any queries? For this, we'll stop the session for today. We'll start the test plan documentation in the next session. Thank you all for joining.
Chandra, I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
It's regarding some keywords like what is this thread dump and heap dump analysis in this performance testing?
They will come later. Okay, during our test execution, I will explain them to you. Okay.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Any other queries, anyone? Thank you all for joining.